Okay, so first things first, I'm just gonna apologize right now if you can hear my heater in the background. This room is cold. I need heat. My plants need heat. So it's just one of those things. But I came home yesterday and my nerve plant was just looking real pathetic again. I found that this plant is very, very reactive to the point where I could just put some more water in this plant again and it should theoretically, as it has done before, perk right back up to its normal kind of height. But I just watered this plant off of schedule. I want to say maybe earlier this week. We are currently on Tuesday. So no, it couldn't have been earlier this week. Maybe late last week. I just watered this plant. So the fact that it needs water a couple of days after I previously watered it tells me that a couple of situations aren't really doing the best. I do have this right under some direct grow lights along with quite a lot of my plants. So that might be the new factor that's really causing this to dry out so much. But honestly, I do not have it in me to be watering this plant consistently every other day or every 2 days or whatever it will actually be for this plant. I will say that these keep breaking off, and these are the flowering kind of buds that are no longer blooming because we are in off-peak season. So I'm not really worried about that at all. But like I said, I do want to go ahead and deal with this particular plant. I am thinking about actually switching this to Pon. I do have Pon. Currently, I actually just recently received my order and I've switched a couple of my plants and I'm just hoping that this plant will do better in a semi-hydro environment where I don't necessarily have to rewater it every day, especially like I said, because it seems to be drying out quite quickly under my grow lights. So I'm gonna just get a random cloth or something to protect this desk, and then we're gonna really kind of get into the plant and see what it's looking like. So yeah, give me 1 second. So this is not the correct kind of product for this, but this is just what I had on hand, and I'm really trying to, when I can, save some money with this planting adventure. Who knows how long I'll be really interested in learning this. I am really enjoying planting and like dealing with my plants and like, just trying to keep them alive and all of that. But at the end of the day, I am one of those people that can kind of go through periods in time. You see how quickly that came out? So, yeah, anyways, there are some roots on the exterior. Let me see if I can get this to focus. So you see there are definitely some roots on the edges. So maybe this just needs to be not only switched to a new substrate, but maybe it actually needs to be potted up. This is in the same pot that it came to me in, and this is a 4-inch pot. So I don't know. Let me get this substrate kind of removed from the roots. I'm going to try my best not to really break up too many roots. But I do have on nails today, and so that kind of makes it a little bit harder. And I'm also not the most gentle person, so I tend to kind of really just go in. But my goal, if at all possible, is to just keep these roots as secure as possible, but these are extremely fine. Is this normal? Maybe even abnormal? Please let me know. I'm very new to the plant market, and like I said, I just watered this and this whole thing feels extremely dry. So I'm thinking that I actually need to pot up in size. I did just pull one of my really small, like, nursery pots because I don't really have, like I said, I'm really trying to do this planting thing in a slower manner than everything else. I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So I don't have a lot of like decorative pots or even a lot of pots in general. I even don't have a lot of like propagation material. A lot of the stuff is just like recycled material or things that I picked up at like the dollar store. Just like I said, I'm really trying to do my best at not over consuming in this world, as well as, of course, you guys know I love over consuming in beauty. And I'm trying to do better in that as well, because of the fact that I am enjoying spending my money on plants and also just getting different variety plants. I'm enjoying them so, so much. What is a hobby that you enjoy besides beauty? And I would love to hear from you guys down below. And honestly, to an extent, I feel like plants and like the hobby of, maintaining plants and taking care of plants can also be a field of beauty, because so many people find that their mental health is just not where they think it should be or where they want it to be. And the concept of taking care of plants, taking care of an actual living thing, although of course it's not a human, plants are still living. They still can breathe. They still need nourishment. They still need love and care. And so taking care of them in a moment where you might not even be able to take care of yourself, or whoever the other loved one is that you wish to take care of at that moment, it helps. It helps so much. That truly is the reason why I got into plants, and I bought my Monstera, that of course I killed by the classic, newbie mistake, which is overwatering it. But I got into plants because I just needed to take care of something. I'm actually going to zoom out a tinge. I feel like I zoomed in a little bit too much. So yeah, I would love to know, if planting is a thing for you as well, or if you just have another hobby that maybe is not so directly associated with beauty that brings you joy and helps you to move forward every day. It's honestly so rewarding, I feel like, just seeing the plants that I've taken care of grow, especially like some of the ones that I've had to cut back. And I was so disappointed about having to do that, of course. But now seeing them grow and do better, it's just exciting. It's so, so exciting. This is super, super fine. And I'm like wondering if I'm really going to take the time to, of course, get all of this substrate out, because you really need to remove all, if not like, 99% of the soil from the roots if you're going to switch it to pond, because of the fact that soil can hold water and it's an organic material. So it can really, you can get some root rot if you have soil around your roots, even though the roots are taking its nutrients and everything else from a substrate such as pond or a pond equivalent. And I do have Lechuza pond because that is the most accessible version to me, because I live in the US. But there are definitely other brands that are a little bit more accessible in like other countries that have their own version. And like I said, so far I haven't had any big complaints, but I also, like I said, just got my pond earlier this last week, and I went ahead and just repotted some plants that I'm having a little bit of difficulty with, just getting them to really absorb the water the way that I think they should, or even I'm finding that I'm overwatering them because of the reactions that I'm getting. So yeah, I'm just trying to continue to massage the soil out of these roots, because I really think that this could potentially do better, hopefully, in pond. Not that it's not doing well now. I mean, this is a lot of roots, and I'm so happy to see that my plant is doing well, even though of course right now in its decrepit state it's not doing too hot. And I'm sure honestly if I had kept it in soil and just moved it up a pot, there would be no big deal, because, you know, I'm not finding that there's any real like negative effects to this being in soil. I don't know. I just feel like trying it in pond as well. And if it doesn't work in pond, I will just repot it again if I catch it in time, and just switch it to a substrate that it will like. I have perlite. I also have normal potting soil that I will add some perlite into, which is what you see in this mixture. This mixture was perlite with some normal potting soil, and the perlite was just added to help with the drainage so that the roots don't hold too much water, because that's the biggest issue that, you know, people can have when these plants are in organic materials. It's just the plant holding too much water near the roots. And you know what, I'm kind of really second guessing if I want to continue to tease out all of this soil, because the soil is really embedded in the top of the roots. Should I do it? I also could potentially break this one apart, but then I'd have to break apart the roots. Oh goodness. Do I want this to be a longer situation than it already is truly the question, honestly. Because like I said, I did just create this soil. And if I don't switch it over now, if I don't switch it over to pond now, the bigger it gets, the longer these fine strands are going to be. Okay, I'm just decided. I am just going to reuse this soil, and I'm just gonna make another combination of planter soil and perlite to put into a bigger pot. Like I said, that's a 4-inch pot that it was originally in. I do have a 6-inch pot. It is a planter pot, so, or not a planter pot, I'm sorry, it's a nursery pot, but we'll do that. We'll do that and we'll see how it goes. I can always, you know, go through this teasing issue later, but I also am happy that I teased out quite a bit of the prior soil. That way these roots can really stretch and really just dive into the bigger pot. So let me get the pot really quickly. All right, so this is my pot. I believe this is a 6-inch pot. I don't remember. I just bought a bunch of nursery pots just because I knew that I was going to be having to change the size of my pots as they grow. And I definitely think that this will have plenty of room to expand. And yeah, otherwise the only other pot that I have is this one. And I think this is going to be even worse than what it was previously in. I'm trying to see, do I have any other pots smaller than that? Yeah, this is the only pot I have. It's just gonna go in this. So what I'm gonna do is take all of the older substrate and put that at the bottom. You guys can't see. Good things. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna put that at the bottom. I don't have any thicker, chunkier substrate to kind of plug up the bottom holes. So yes, some of my soil does seep through when I'm doing this, and of course like when I go to repotting situations, but it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal to me, and I always have trays under so that, you know, if it happens I can catch it, and if it doesn't catch it, you know, like I said, to me it's not that big of a deal. So I have this. This is like a tray to catch water. I can't, my brain's not working. Anyways, we're gonna just put 2 cups of normal like Miracle Grow in here. I think they have some horticulture chunks in here along with a little bit of perlite. I'm sure there's even some char or core or whatever it is in this as well. I don't have all of those other ingredients. I just have this and some perlite. So I did about two. Oh, I forgot. I forgot to put water. Oh. Something that I did not know is that apparently perlite is not good for you to inhale. So if you put some water in it, let's all stay in the makeshift pot. If you put some water in it, then some of that harshness is kind of evaporated. Also, there's a stupid amount of dust, so that helps as well. And I usually do about a cup of the perlite full, and then about two, like 3/4 cups of soil. For this mix, I feel like I have way too much perlite compared to soil, so I will add some more soil to the mix. I just need to, of course, drain this and also, you know, clean my hands. Those are some semi-important things to do. So that's what I'm gonna do really quickly. I'm gonna just wash my hands, clean them up. I'm just gonna mix in probably yet another cup of soil into this, and there are other things that I want to kind of address as well, so we'll work on getting those, but let's finish up this plant situation first. So let me go ahead and, I don't know, clean this whole situation up. Hold on. Okay, so as I knew would happen, I first, you know, like I said, I went and cleaned my hands because I don't like things under my nails, whether fake nails or real nails. Anyways, so I went and did that, and now I'm just using my cup that I use to, you know, get all of the material from their respective packaging to halfway mix this. I'll probably have to still do some better mixing myself, but at least this ratio looks a little bit more to what I'm used to using, more in line with this ratio that you see in the pot, which you can't really see. Okay, so I actually ended up getting a phone call right when I was about to pot this. So I just was doing muscle memory and I was just potting this. But as you can see, I've potted this in a drastically bigger pot, just in case you guys want a size reference. This was the old pot and this is the new one. So I'm hoping that the roots have a lot more room to grow and that they can hold a lot more water in this substrate. So I don't necessarily have to water this plant nearly as often. Like I said, it is getting direct light from a grow light source, so that may be the issue, and maybe I will adjust its access to that grow light. So I'm just gonna move this off of here and let's kind of address some other things. I wanted to talk about this propagation. This is my ZZ plant. So I told you guys that my ZZ plant was looking real crazy, and if I have any form of footage of it post me chopping it up, I will just go ahead and throw it on the screen right now. But basically, this is one of the smaller babies that I thought I could potentially save. I did have it chilling out in the air so that it could like seal over at the end, so that when I propagated it, it was fine. And I mean, the soil is somewhat wet. It's not like overly moist, but it's moist enough that I'm not going to add any more water. But it just looks like it's about to die. Like, it looks like it is just on the road to death. But I'm going to let it continue to sit in that soil. Hopefully, you know, we'll see something good. Another propagation that I have done is this. So my Peperomia red, I've been having difficulty with the watering of that as well, and I'm finding that it's just not doing the best. So I wanted to try to propagate it. Some of my favorite YouTubers had talked about propagating in this method, where they take the actual leaves, which I'm sure you guys can't really determine. I have about 6 leaves embedded into this soil, and basically you just cut the leaves in half and you put it in the soil, and it's supposed to root on this, of course, the side that's in the soil. I don't think it's actually working, and I do feel like this is quite dry, so I actually might put some water in here, but it's only dry on the edges. It's not dry on the middle, so I'm gonna leave this alone and just continue to hopefully provide the amount of sun that it needs to foster. Are you guys seeing how the perlite is turning yellow? If you know why that's happening, please let me know. I will definitely Google it after I get off of this because I just realized that literally right now. But yeah, I feel like I should probably be concerned, but I just don't know why I should be concerned when it comes to this. And the other propagation that I really have going on right now are, once again, some more ZZ plants. These are some of the more fuller leaves that I just plucked off because they weren't looking good. There was a lot of yellowing going on, which typically is an example of either some overwatering or under nutrient deficient. And I will say I did change my fertilizer treatments. I changed from actually having fertilizer to not at one point, and then I changed the type of fertilizer, one that I actually had to mix up because I found that the liquid fertilizer that I got from the box store, I found that I just went through that very quickly, it felt like. So I just wanted to get something that was a little bit more cost effective, and maybe that's why these are just going a little bit haywire, and that's maybe why my ZZ plant is looking the way it is. But I'm also just looking at the stems right now of my actual ZZ plant, and they are quite like red. I do know that the leaves can turn red in a plant because it's just been exposed to too much sun, but I've never heard of the stems turning red. So I'm really just leaving my ZZ plant alone at this point. It's literally only stems. I've taken off all of the leaves, and so we're just going to see what happens. Hopefully it will revive itself. It's a very hardy plant, so I'm really hoping that it will. Let's see what we can do about some other plants. So I showed you guys, have I showed you guys? No, I haven't showed you guys in this video. So let me get the plants that I'm thinking about. I might actually just go ahead and repot both of them, and continue to keep them in isolation. Let me get them though. Okay, sorry, I had to clean my hands. So this is one of my newest acquisitions. This is the quote unquote mini Monstera. It does have a Greek or Latin name. I just don't know it. As you can see, this is definitely a plant that was cut. It looks like more of a mid cut, if not a lower cut, and that they cut off the top portion of the plant. Probably that portion had the biggest leaves, so they were saving it for, you know, somebody who's willing to pay more. I did purchase this through Etsy, and this will be hauled among, I'm sure, some other plants that I will be getting along the way. As you can see, there's quite a bit of, come on camera please. There are quite a lot of aerial roots, both on the sides of the stem, but also in the back. And from what I have seen, a lot of people actually go ahead and put this on some form of moss pole or trellis or something like that. By the curve on the stem, I feel like whoever previously created and kind of nurtured this plant had it on a similar system. I'm just, you know, working with what I have, and I don't have that. I don't. But I did just think about the fact that I believe this is, once again, a 4-inch pot, and I have 6-inch pots. So what I might do is actually embed some of these aerial roots into some soil, and just get this plant hopefully growing a little bit more. I have a slight vision on this, and I know that this plant grows best when it is a crawling plant, but I do kind of want it to be a little bit more of a trailing plant, at least at the beginning, and then I will let it crawl towards the end where I kind of want it to fill out the pot. I have a vision. Let me see if I can get yet another 6-inch pot to hopefully work with this vision. Actually, no, let me see what the roots are looking like. I did just receive this plant recently, and so I generally would not repot something like this. It actually looks like they just threw this in this type of soil just to send it to me. Let's see. Let's see how rooted this is and what it's looking like. I'm just gonna go ahead and, okay, so there's some really nice roots. That's really nice. Okay. Maybe we will use some pond after all, because I do know that Monstera do prefer a chunkier soil. And although this is technically not a Monstera, even though people call it a mini Monstera, I do find that from my research, people still treat it in the same manner. So let's see if we can get this soil. It looks like this is pretty much just core or horticultural charcoal. I'm thinking it's more core, which is good material. I just don't have any. And I'm just thinking that because I want this to really kind of build in a particular manner, it would be probably better while it's still in isolation for me to kind of get this together. Plus, it's been in this room for a couple of days now, and it's already starting to unravel that leaf, which tells me that although it did, you know, have to be delivered through, I think, the post office, I don't actually know, it's not been in any form of real trauma. So I think the plant can stand to really just get a repot, a change in substrate, and we just kind of see where it goes from there. So I'm just going to continue to tease out these roots. How are you guys doing? We are really getting towards the holidays. I think the day that I'm going to upload this is actually near Thanksgiving. I'm thinking this is going to actually be my Friday upload. Are you guys interested in hearing more about my plant activities and all of that? Or are you not interested in it? Definitely let me know. I had visions of at least doing one video during Swagmas, so I'm doing a bang up job. I forgot to turn my camera off, so you guys were recording nothing that whole time. Anyways, I've done the best I can. Come on. I've done the best I can with cleaning off the roots. There's a little bit of soil still on them, but we're just gonna rock with it. We are gonna rock with it. So let me get the bigger pot. All right, so this is the bigger pot that I was referring to. And what I'm hoping, maybe I need to go to the even bigger one. Hold on. Okay, so my hope was that I could get this to like fill out the whole bottom before it really starts to crawl up. But maybe what I will do is pot it like this, where all of these aerial roots are in the soil, but then there's no room for a trellis unless I pot it like this, because I'll still need room for a trellis, which I will add later. I just don't have anything. Okay, I think I figured out what I'm gonna do. Okay, let's get it done. I don't need any of this soil. Like I said, I'm gonna be using my Lechuza Pond substrate, and my cup that I use is now completely dirty with other soil. I'm going through it. Okay. Oh, that's right. This bloody Lechuza Pond goes right through my thing. Do I have... Oh my goodness, I'm going through it. Okay, so let me show you guys what I did. I don't know if I'll be able to really show you. Let me see if I can zoom in at the right spot. Okay, so this is a node, and it's also an aerial root. Same thing. In this plant, it's called an aerial root because this plant likes to climb, but it's also a node in the sense of this is where you really want That's where you really want your plant to be connected to your substrate. And so what I'm going to do is kind of a combination of things. Because this node is so used to kind of going up, same with the actual spine of the plant, I'm going to try to find a bobby pin. Okay, bobby pin acquired. And what I'm going to do is just use it to help this node in particular just to stay in the substrate. And I'm just going to push it down just so that the node can kind of be pushed down. And I'm just going to push the substrate as best as possible over. You just really want that substrate to cover up all the nodes possible. That and helps to encourage root growth and growth just in general. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it as that. And now it's beautifully potted. Yes, of course, I would love a pot on the outside just to hold all of this in. I just don't have it. So I will work on getting that. But I'm going to now water this a little bit later. I just want to go ahead and address my other plant since I already addressed that one. And I got these at the exact same time. I got these at the exact same time from the exact same vendor. So I'm sure the substrate that this ZZ plant is in a similar situation. And honestly, I'm kind of second guessing if I need to repot it. I thought I did because it kind of looked from afar that the roots were really poking, but I don't see any issue here. Let's just see. It's a little bit dry. I think I'm going to let this actually completely dry out. I really don't want to have the issue where I'm overwatering my ZZ again. And this one looks really nice. It doesn't look terrible. It is the Raven. It is the Raven variety of ZZ plant too. So this is unique compared to the one that theoretically I have killed. So I think that's it. This is probably quick and sweet to the point, hopefully, through all of the love of editing and getting rid of all of the random stops and starts. But I am just going to water the two plants that I successfully repotted, the Monstera mini and then also my nerve plant. And oh no, but I need, what am I going to do with the soil? I'll just put the soil away and hopefully use it for another time. I'll probably box it up so that it doesn't go bad. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed my first kind of repotting with me Friday situation.